But just so that you can know what we're going to cover today in the classes that I present, whether it's going to be working with affluent individuals or global buyers or sellers, we have only so much limited time because since they're CE classes, there's content that we have to cover. But then people want to know, Neal, what are the tools that you're using? How are you taking the principles and what we've learned and actually making it applicable to everyday life as an agent? So that's what we're going to do here today. And I am not going to make any assumptions. Okay. So the first thing that I want to do is, so we're going to do this in a couple of steps, if that's okay with you. The first thing I really want to do is to go through and let you and show you how we get the information, where we get the information that's going to be so valuable to the affluent clientele and those global practitioners or end users, right? Because I know there's a lot of info, like what do global practitioners, what do our colleagues in other countries, what do they really want from us? I touched on this a little bit in the classes talking about the reports, but now I'm going to really deep dive, show you how to use that information. Well, first, where to get it, how to use it, and how we're going to package that in such a way where our expertise is communicated in a way that's easily digestible by others. And then after that, we're going to say, well, how can we make it and package it in such a way that people are asking for it? And really, the goal is for us to become the expert of choice. The goal is for people to come looking for you, Natasha, when they think of real estate, when they have any question about luxury real estate or U.S. real estate. We want them coming to you, even if it's, and this is the great part, we're going to tailor this in such a way. We're going to give just little bits where they come and say, I know she's in Florida, but she sent me something on the California real estate market. My client coming from China with the higher sales price, right? We know that their median sales price is 600. They want to be on the West Coast, but I haven't, everything I get is from Natasha. She is on the East Coast. Maybe I saw her send a California report. Maybe she knows just enough, right? And so I'm going to show you how we're going to do that, where we're going to get this information from, and then why we're going to have people knocking on your electronic or virtual door saying, yes, let me in. And then as we do these things, what you're going to see in one of my classes talking about either working with the affluent or specializing in the global niche, you'll see that doors are going to start opening up. Opportunities are going to present themselves and you're going to be like, well, I only do this. How did this commercial opportunity open up? Or I was only working with first time buyers. And yes, I know there were global buyers purchasing here. How did it open up into the luxury realm? And then we're going to say, how do we use these same tools and these techniques to position ourselves as the global, the affluent luxury specialist of choice? And so it's really simple. It's simple in the practices and the tools that we're going to use. It does require work, and that's what scares a lot of people off. Okay. But I know you're not afraid of work. So we're just going to dive right in. And much of what we're going to do, I am going to actually go into every one of my accounts and the tools that I use, the systems that I use, and show you what I'm doing. So therefore, you could just make a note and say, okay, Florida Realtors, we're going to go to Florida Realtors, NAR. We're going to the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. We're going to go to Proxio. We're going to go on YouTube and show you how I'm making it so easy for my voice and my face to be seen and recognized, but for people to read it in their language. And that's how we build that connection. That's how we get to that know, like, trust. And it's relatively easy. I'm willing to bet that the majority of things you already have access to and you're already doing, we just might not be packaging it in a way that says, okay, I'm an expert, come use me. So we're going to just go ahead. I'm going to share my screen with you, and everything that we're going to share, it is web-based, so it's going to be really easy. And I just want to make sure that you see my Florida Realtors screen right now on the computer. Is that what you're seeing? All right, so good. We're going to rock and roll here. So Florida Realtors, I believe that this is one of the best resources for our industry that you can have at the, I'm going to say local level, because it goes state, and then we can come down to some even as tight as zip code levels. And here's where what I'm going to ask you to do. I want you to make note of floridarealtors.org. But here's where our biggest bang for our buck, I believe, with what we're trying to do is going to come into play. And that's going to be right here under tools and research. And we're going to come over to, there's two places. Yes, the first one, I want you to be aware of the international buyer profile if you are not already. So we're going to come here to international buyer profile. I believe that this is a great resource. And I talk about it in every one of my global classes or international classes. It talks about the 2020 profile of international residential real estate activity. So it's great information. It's going to break it down here. Top 5 foreign buyers. This is for the state of Florida. And then we can see the top destinations, median purchase prices, and all the information. If you want the full report, just click on that report. Click on this link right here, and it's going to take you straight to it. But that's not where our focus is going today. So when we come under tools and research, we want our focus to be, as soon as technology catches up, we want our focus to be here on market statistics. So when we go to market statistics, the first thing that many people see are going to be the Sun Stats. I absolutely love Sun Stats, Florida Realtor Sun Stats. I think it is great for interactive, but it's not going to accomplish what we need today, because all we're doing, everything that we do from the time that we go on Florida Realtors to even our issue magazine that we're going to create, is to do one thing: to give relevant, accurate information to the people who need it and who desire it, and who can't get access to that easily, or they don't know how to do it. And when we give relevant, accurate information, that's going to position us, you and me, as the expert of choice. And when we go from being a real estate agent, a realtor, to being the realtor, the real estate agent of choice, now we've done our job. So once we come in here and we go to tools and research and market statistics, we're going to click here to access monthly market reports. One of the most valuable things I believe that Florida realtors, besides the information and the news updates and stuff to keep us out of trouble, they give us these monthly market reports, and we're going to let that open up. Now, this is considered their heritage site or their older site. And the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do is, this says click here for the release schedule. Okay, so I want you to click on this release schedule. And when you do, what you're going to see, it's going to tell you exactly when the stats are going to be released, because it's not good enough for us to have relevant, accurate information. We also want to give timely information. So what do I know? I know that on February 11th, Q4 stats for existing home and condo sales was released. February 11th. I know that in 3 days, on February 19th, January's report is going to be released for the existing home and condo sales. Why do I care about that? I keep the most recent report with me at all times, no matter where I am, either in print format, like you can see here, or I will have it in PDF on my phone if I'm somewhere and I don't have the information readily available at my fingertips. And here's why. So in my planner, in my calendar, I make sure that on February 11th, I put Q4 EHS for existing home sales. So I know that on February 11th, I came in, I did a quick video, and we'll look at some videos in a moment. And then I send out emails with these most relevant, accurate, and timely reports to different individuals. What does that do? That lets them know that I know what's happening in the market. I'm not waiting for them to get this information from NAR, Florida Realtors. I'm not waiting for them to have to look for this information. I want this information to be in their inbox, probably realistically around 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. So we give Florida Realtors their concise and they're consistent with getting the information out by noontime. We want to make sure that we edit the info, do all of this, get it out in a timely manner. So on the 19th, I'm going to share a video. I'm going to go ahead and have my mailers ready to be sent out that will go out on the 20th. So that's the idea. But I just want you to see where we come in and all of the 2021 schedule. We know when it's going to be released. You can click here and see the same thing for NAR. We're not as concerned with the NAR reports as we are with that of Florida Realtors, and I'll show you why here in a moment. So now that we know when things are going to be released, now we're going to look at what we care about. We're going to look at what we're going to use to position ourselves in the eyes of our colleagues, affluent buyers or sellers, global buyers or sellers, to position ourselves as the, not a. So anything that says publicly available, we do not care about for our purposes of what we're talking about in this training. We don't care about anything publicly available. The ones that say members only, that's where we want to focus the bulk of our attention. So you'll see county reports. And if you look right now, you'll see that it only goes up to 2020. In 3 days, that's going to say 2021, because then we can select January 2021. How do we know? Because we know when the schedules are being released. We know when the stats are being released. So January 2021 stats are going to be released for condos and single family homes on the 19th. So that's when we want to give relevant, accurate information. Now we know that Q4 stats, fourth quarter stats for 2020 were released on the 11th of this month. So that's what I am going to look at. And I like looking at the Q4 single family, and we're just going to use Broward County as an example. That's exactly what I have right here. And these are my zip code. So remember, I said that Florida Realtors does a fantastic job creating information for us at a state level, but also at a local level. Now we're going to look at these local type stats and information that I'm talking about. So just looking in Broward County, and the great thing is, if you are a Florida Realtor member, then you can do this for any county, any zip code in the state of Florida that is reported. So you don't have to be a member of the the local association. Just by being a member of Florida Realtors, any association that shares data, they'll be able to get the information here. So I care about this. Why? Because if I am let's first talk on the luxury side, working with affluent buyers or sellers. I want to come in and say, well, what zip code really matches with the price points? Because remember, we want to make sure that we're operating inside of all of the fair housing laws. Well, we can't say, country of origin or nation or nationality, ethnicity. We can't do any of that. Sex, no. But we can be selective on the areas we choose based on the price points or the median sales prices. Very clear here. And so we'll come down and we'll look at the zip codes. You can also look at the prices here. So zip code 062, as you can see, zip code 062 in the fourth quarter. Don't forget, these are the Q4 2020 stats in 3 days. We'll be looking at the month stats, but they don't break it down by zip code. So 062 had 60 closed transactions or real buyers and had a median sales price of 928, an average sales price of 2.02 million. Let's see another zip code if we were considering looking in the luxury price point. Zip code 301. Right here, 301, 77 real buyers with a median sales price of 1.375 and an average sales price of 1.9 million. And then just from my studies, I know to look at zip code 316 right here. As you can see in the middle of the screen, 31 real buyers with a median sales price of 1.52 and then an average sales price of 2.17. So what are we going to do with this information? What are we going to do now that we know, where the luxury price points are, or how many you can see closed in cash? So we're looking at 316. We can see 15 transactions closed in cash. We can see the same thing for 315. We get a slightly more in 311. You can start having conversations with either your global buyers or sellers or your affluent buyers and sellers, and especially your practitioners that you're going to be looking to refer business to and from based on this information right here. Now, go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
That's the quarterly, correct?
Yes, this is the quarterly. So now that's where we are going next. I wanted to look at the let me minimize my screen here. I want us to look at the monthly. Okay, so now for argument's sake or for an example, we're going to use the December 2020 single family homes, and I'm going to stay in Broward. December 2020. Don't forget, in a couple of days, we can look at the one for January 2021. And as soon as that information comes out, you want to, it's sort of like the news cycle, right? You want to be the first to report. However, we have the luxury of reporting accurate information. So that's where, we sort of saying, okay, it's late by, you know, 19 days, but it's still early, and we're going to report that in a timely manner. So December 2020, single family for Broward. I'm going to open this up, and here's where things get fun because of the different formats. When it gets to the quarterly reports, right? This is just in a table. It's not very sexy, not much that you can just cut and paste or that you can use. Now, this report is a report that if you wanted to, I believe that when I send reports out and I'm going to keep them, formatted like this, I am not replacing Florida Realtors. I am not branding this to myself or to my company. I'm using the power of Florida Realtors to my advantage when I send this out to my colleagues in other countries or even in other states where I'm looking to get referral business from. I don't want them to think that I have doctored this information, and I want them to see that I have the power of Florida Realtors at my fingertips. So now this is where we're going to look at the general information for December 2020, single family homes, Broward County, very concise with what it says and giving the information. You'll see here the median sales prices. We look at dollar volume, median time to contract, month supply of inventory. While all of that is good, I don't believe that's where our value is in this report. Our true value, while this is a snapshot, it's hard to say median, but let's say once again, we're looking for the higher tier of property. So the luxury niche. We're going to scroll down, skip all the way through all of this information. So we don't really care about the market as a whole. We don't care about the time to contract or the days on market as a whole in the general marketplace. So you'll see that the first half of this report focuses on months and year to date and year over year. That's not where our focus is. We want to come down and get to where it changes to by price bands or price ranges. This is where you and I, our buyers, our sellers, our colleagues care. This is that information. This is that members only information. Remember? So now we can come in here. Instead of them doing this by month, now we're looking at by price point or price band, as we often say. And they're coming in, and now I can look and see, I know this says 400 to 600 minus a buck, but let me get an idea of the closer to the higher upper tier. So let's just say, even if we cut this in half, where it went from 500K to 600K, or if you just wanted to look at the closed sales from 600K to a million plus, what do we see? Why is this information valuable to our colleagues, buyers, sellers? When we start looking at what happened in 2020, December 2020 versus December 2019, what do we see? We see a 55% increase in the number of real buyers in 600 to 1 million minus a buck. In the million plus, 66% increase in 1 month year over year compared to the year before. And then the same thing that we see from 4 to 600K minus a buck. And this is the information that other realtors, that other real estate professionals outside of our area, they don't have access to. So how do I look? How would you look if you came? Now, this part here, unlike that very first photo, that very first graph, it isn't sexy. You're not just going to get this and cut this out and just post it somewhere and be like, okay, I have no idea what that means. What we are going to do, we're going to be armed with this information, and this information, 400 to 600K, a 56% increase in real buyers year over year for the month of December. This is the type and the quality of information that we're going to report timely in our newsletter or in our blog, or when we do our vlog and our video market update. This is the quality and the type of information that we're going to deliver. So we'll come in, and for instance, I love looking at the number of closed sales, or in our circle, what we're going to call real buyers, right? We're going to use this real buyer info. Another one that we really care about is we're going to look at the median time to contract. So we saw this huge increase in our luxury price bands from 400K up in the number of real buyers month over month. So now let's do the same thing with our days on market or median time to contract. And this is where you can have the discussion. If you want to use days on market, time to contract, you get to make that decision. But here's what's exciting for you as the controller or and the haver of this information. You can come in and have discussions, whether it's buyer or seller. Why is now a good time to go on the market if you're a seller? Let's look at from 600K up. The median time to contract has decreased by almost 70% in 600K to a million minus a buck. For a million plus, it has decreased 64%, where now we're looking at median time to contract 67 days. So we're no longer in these triple digit days. This is where we get to, in our marketing consultation with the sellers, or even in our handout that we're going to be sending, or our mailer or our newsletter, we're having these conversations, we're giving this information, and we're letting our potential luxury buyers know why that first offer might need to be a strong offer, why we might have to come above ask. So these are the types of reports that we want to give. And then these next two, I believe, once we put these next two parts of the report side by side, I believe it's going to be valuable. So we can come in and we can look at the number of new listings. So new listings increased year over year, but then we're going to put that right next to the inventory of by current list price. So you could do new listings next to the current inventory. So while the new listings are increasing, we can use that information against what the current list price is and show, the current inventory versus the new listings and how that's decreasing. And if you wanted to, a great thing to do would be to move or compare this inventory by current listing price. So let's say we have, for the million plus, 720 available homes. If we look at the closed sales, 128 closed sales in the month. And that's how we can arrive at the months of inventory, by dividing the available by what was closed. And that will give us a very good idea for that time period, because that's going to be different on the price bands and the price ranges from this 2.1 months of total supply, right? So that's where we want to use this information in a way where it is going to be valuable to those that we're going to be sending that information to. Any questions right here, Natasha, that you might have before we just do a quick, because we're going to do a quick look at NAR, and then we're going to move to some other reports to get the information before we move to what we're going to do with it.
Okay, so this is the information that we're using to have conversations to understand the market and relate that in our consultations and the sort.
Yes, and you're also using this information, because I'm going to show you the new, like a newsletter that you're going to create. So you're going to go through, you're going to have really a couple of sources. You're going to use these couple of sources and get this information one time. So once you do a screen capture or a snippet, or you just want to print it out and know this information, that's going to help you in the conversations that you have, whether it's phone, in person, via Zoom. It's going to help you in your typewritten form, whether you're going to do a blog, whether you're going to do a newsletter using a service like Issue, whether you're going to do social media posts. This same information you're going to use on your video correspondence, that you're going to do a market update video. Why are we going to do it in video? Because we want them to be able to but see us and get this in another language if necessary. Right. And so that's what we're going to do. And that's going to say, okay, she is speaking my language. I'm hearing her voice. I'm seeing her face, but she's made it and packaged it in a way where even if English is not the language that I understand, I can get it in Spanish, I can get it in French, I can get it in Mandarin. And that's where the value is. And that's what's going to position you differently than only putting it on social media. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Understood.
Okay, so now we're just going to do a quick jump over here. So that's our Florida realtors. So now we're going to look at NAR. NAR, we're not going to spend a lot of time on. I just want you to see where we're going to go to get information. We're going to go to research and stats, and then we're going to come to research reports. So NAR.realtor, we're going to hover over research and stats and then come to research reports. Now, these reports are going to be very similar to the Florida realtor reports. The ones that we care about right now are going to be international. So we looked at the international report for Florida that gave a state specific. This is going to be a national report. So the international transactions in US real estate for 2020. We're going to click here. And if you want the full report, you're going to click download. If you only want highlights, it's going to give us this information. And why do we want, and the reason why we're doing this in this order, let's get the Florida report so we can know the international part, so we can know what countries are coming into, what countries citizens are buying in the state of Florida. We need that information. Then we want to know the zip code or what's happening in our counties based on the type of property, right? And so this is where I also want you to see that I'm very specific. So when I come in, how do I have so much success? Because I specialize in single family homes in Broward County. And this is where I've taken the chance and I've listened to people who are smarter than me who said, Neal, don't try to be everything to all people. When it comes to the condo market, even here in Broward, I am not knowledgeable of the condo market. Now, do I have a working knowledge where I can have a conversation, an intelligent conversation? Yes. Do I invest a lot of time in the condo market in Broward? I absolutely do not. What do? I refer those out, and then the condo specialist will refer the single family homes buyers or sellers to me. I've just found that works. So the reason why I want to look at the international report for the state of Florida, we want to know who's purchasing in our state. We want to then look at what's happening in our marketplace for zip codes or counties, price bands, because now we're starting to get that foundation of, you know what, this person here, this professional really is knowledgeable. They know their stuff, and that's our goal. And so now on the national level, we want to come in. We do want to be familiar with this international transactions in U.S. real estate. Re-download that full report, but these are highlights. And what we're going to see, why we do this is we want to know who's buying in the US. Earlier, before we started recording, I said that your goal is to be the realtor of choice in the country. So when someone thinks of you, if they're outside of our borders, when they think US real estate, our goal is for them to think of you. And how are we going to do that? The first thing we're going to do, we are going to target those practitioners or those countries that are coming here into Florida. The next thing we want to do is we want to target those countries that are coming into the US. So Florida, Mexico was not one of the countries for the state of Florida. We have China was not one of the countries for the state of Florida. However, we do want to target China and their real estate professionals, or make sure we get information to them. Why? Because we see the amount of dollars being purchased here in the US by these foreign buyers. So what do? We get relevant, accurate, timely information to those people who the buyers already have relationships with, who they already know, like, trust. China is a high context culture, so they need to have some type of relationship in place. So that's what we want to do. So I want to come in and know these people. So that's all we're going to do for NAR. Come in, get familiar with the reports, and then we'll use that information a little bit later with what we're going to do. Okay, so now what I want to do is we are going to go into the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. Now, I don't know if you are an Institute member yet or not. Are you?
No, I'm not. Wasn't aware.
Okay. So the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, it is a designation certification. Now, it is not, and I want to be clear, it is not an NAR designation. Okay, so it's a certification that you get through the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. And if you wanted, let me see if I can get there. So it's going to be luxuryhomemarketing.com. So if you want information, let me luxuryhomemarketing.com, and this is the home page. So you can get information on training. I know that different associations, the Miami Association, they do a fantastic job having training available. And then once you become a member, you do not have to be a certified luxury home marketing specialist in order to become a member of the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. Once you become a member, you have access to the tools and some things I'm going to show you. Now, full disclosure, being a member of the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing does not make you more valuable in the eyes of the consumer. Okay, it does not. I'm just going to tell you, in my mind, no one has ever said, oh, you have this, I'm going to go with you over this person or the competition. What I do believe, I believe that what I'm going to show you now, some tools and some techniques that you can use as a member of the institute, the information will make you more valuable. All right, so not just because you have that you're a member, but what the things that they make available, I do believe will make you more valuable. And then while I am talking about this, um, let me, I want to go in right now and show you a free resource, if I'm not mistaken. Miami RE.com slash. Let's see if I went to the right page. Yes, Miami RE slash luxury. Miami RE slash luxury. This is, so now you don't have to go look all over the place. Okay, so even as someone who is not a member of the Institute, they do have the national report, right? So you can come in here, the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. It gives you some information. You can come in here and get the most recent national luxury reports from the Institute. So you don't have to be a member. This is something that you can get. Something else that I absolutely love is that they have packaged Inman's information right here. Just talk about how to stage luxury homes, building a luxury brand. So as far as training and information, whether it's going to be news or podcasts or blogs, this is going to be here. And then it gives you marketing tools for luxury sales. So miamire.com slash luxury or miamirealtors.com slash luxury. Okay. So now I am going to go back and I'm going to go into the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, because here's what I want you to see. So once you become a member, this is where the value comes in. So tools and resources, these are things that I'm using, and I am not endorsed by them at all, by the Institute. It's just that here's what really works for me. And so I want to show you some ways that you can use the information, even the national report. So you will be able to use a national report, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a moment. So a couple of things. The first one is going to be this luxury market report, and the second one are going to be the OWL online wealth lookup. So this luxury market report, we're going to go in here, and this is produced monthly. And so the one that you'll have access to from miamirealtors.com slash luxury is going to be this luxury market report North America. 20 pages, and it's going to give you relevant, accurate information. It gives you a glossary. If you did nothing else but save this PDF and attached it to an email and sent this out to your colleagues, your clients, people who are not in the United States, people who might be in the United States but are just curious about what's happening in the luxury market, this right here will position you heads and tails above your competition or those outside. And so it says, welcome to January 21. It talks about what the year you can expect, what happened in 2020, what we're seeing. Attached homes or condos, townhouses versus single family homes gives a little more information, market trend stats. And here's where it's going to give us the overview of month over month. And it's important for us to know month over month versus year over year. So November versus December, it talks about whether it's a seller's market or buyer's market. And this is where you're going to come in and make sure that if you're going to be doing this in type form, verbally, or if you're going to be doing it as a newsletter, make sure that you say, okay, well, this is the national picture, which might be a seller's market. Then we can come in and look at attached homes or condos and townhouses. We come down a little further, and this is the one that I absolutely love. For the state of Florida, you'll see that it breaks it down into Boca, Pinellas, GFL, Jacksonville, Lee, Miami, Naples. And so we get to see, okay, Miami, let's see. So we're looking at median list price versus sales price. List price 1.44, sales price median 1.25, number of units for sale, new listings, how many sold, and then days on market. Remember, for the days on market, I'm sorry, for the market, whether it's a buyer's or seller's market, nationally, it is a seller's market. If you look at Miami, it is a balanced market. What does that mean? It's 58, if I'm not mistaken. 58 is the median days on market. If we come in and look at Fort Lauderdale, 44 median days on market, and then that's a seller's market. So you can come in, have informed conversations. So you could say, for instance, with the exception of Miami, with the exception of the Miami area, Florida is seeing a seller's market in the luxury niche. And then they can start saying, well, why is this? What happens? Or do you want more information? We can come in and have those discussions. And this is where we can send this information to anyone and let them know, hey, if you need information on Texas, even though I'm not in Texas, I have this info for you. Another one is California. Let's say that if we want to let our Chinese colleagues know what's happening in California, you don't have to reach out to someone in California. Send them this report. Say, just so that you're aware of what's happening in California. It's looking like, what is California? A seller's market. Here's the information that you can share with your buyers or sellers so they can know what's happening in this market. And I'm giving you this information not branded to yourself. We do want to leverage the power of the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing to our advantage. So that's the way that I'm using this report. And if I'm not mistaken, yep, so that's how it'll go through for attached. The other was for single family. And so now how I use it, I'm going to get out of here. And that was a national report. So let's say we want to do a city report. So we go to the state of Florida, and I'm going to come to, since I've been in Broward, let me stick to Fort Lauderdale. This is going to be very similar to that national report. Instead of 20 pages, it is now 5 pages, and it's only talking about the greater Fort Lauderdale area. And you'll see that the luxury benchmark price, $700K. It talks about the sales ratios. If it's a buyer's versus a seller's market, it breaks down into price bands. Now, this is something that's going to be valuable to you. So now you can say, all right, in the greater Fort Lauderdale area, the floor for the luxury market, according to the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing, is going to be $700K. So $700K, what's the most active price band based on the number of real buyers is going to be the 750 to 900K minus a buck. It gives us the criteria of the homes of the most sought after based on square footage or price band here. And then this is going to be for single family home only. It tells us list price or sales price to list price ratio, days on market, the sales price, how many actual real buyers there were or sold, and then the active inventory. And then it's going to tell us the most active price band, where their sales ratio is 73%, list price to sales price ratio. And then the same thing for attached homes. Remember, I don't concern myself with attached homes. Maybe you want to know both, or maybe you only want to go into the attached homes, but then this will give you that same information for the attached home. So that's one of the tools that I'm using, or some of the tools that I'm using to get the information. Because before we can do anything, we want to make sure we have relevant, accurate information and that we're getting this information out in a timely manner. So are you good so far?
Yes, and you said we're not branding this to us. We're just saying we're just forwarding information.
Yes. So now something like this, and here's why. Because if you see my screen right now, this report right here, it says Greater Fort Lauderdale, Florida, January 2021, and it has this here. I want them to see that I am attached to a reputable society, or that's just like Florida Realtor. So if I am going to be sending this to my colleagues, if I'm going to be sending this to people who are in the state or just anyone, I like for it to be this type this way. Me. Now, there's going to also be, we're going to put the same information into our newsletter. So there are going to be some people who you want to send this to, especially if the way I do this, if I only send this report and the full Florida Realtors report or NAR report, I'm only sending that full report unbranded to real estate professionals. My potential buyers or sellers will never see this report. Okay. And the reason why I'm sending this to my colleagues or my referral partners or affiliates, there might be someone who is who's a home stager. I'll send this to them, not branded like this. Why? Because I'm not concerned with them trying to backdoor or poach my business. Also, I don't want them concerned with if it's a colleague or a real estate professional in another country. I don't want them not showing this information to their client because they're afraid that my contact info is on there. It's the same idea of an open house flyer. If we take our clients to an open house and we see they have brochures there and it's branded to that listing agent, we're gonna be like, nah, bruh, you are not getting that. I here, this printout that I gave you with my contact info on there, that's the one I want you to have. But also psychologically, we're letting our colleague know, our peer know, I'm not trying to steal your business. I'm here to make you look like a rock star. And if I can give you this information, you do what you want with it, because I really don't care if my colleagues over in Thailand, if they want to put their brand right here and give that to their clients, I don't care. I do know that they're going to come back to me saying, Neal, you've given us this for 9 months, for 13 months, for 2 years. And now our clients are ready to make a decision. When they get on the plane, when their feet hit US soil, they're going to be contacting you. So that's the reason why I do this, but that's only if I'm sending this to another professional. So they have to be in the real estate industry, or they have to be in like an affiliate type business. Does that make sense to you?
Okay, great. So these two reports we're sending to fellow realtors internationally.
Yes. And then I'm going to show you what we would send to our end user, right? So we're going to send this, and we might even send our newsletter to an affiliate, but the way, or to a professional, but the way we're going to do that is where they get to pick and choose what they're going to use. Okay, so I am going to go back here. So we're still inside of the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. Now, this is going to be, let's go back to tools and research. This is going to be one of those things that after you've been in for a while and you know what you're looking for and and now you're saying, okay, I have the information, I have the training, I have the know-how, I have value to add. Now, who can use these services? Who can get value from what I have? And this is where OWL comes in, the online wealth lookup. So I am coming in and I'm using OWL to do reports. Once I have a meeting with someone, I can come in here and I can do a search by their name. So I have meeting with clients that have come through referral basis. I want to know who I'm dealing with. And so when I'm doing that, I'm going to say, all right, what research can I do? How can I build a dossier on this person? Okay, and just making sure that you see. So I'm going into Remind, and I'm going to look up properties by either whether they're expired. I'm going to go through that's just different criteria. And once I know the name of, for instance, if I come through and if I look in Remind, let's see if it's going to open up if I have to log in. If I come into Remind and if I see, for instance, David's property expired in Weston, and I can see that it is an $800,000 property. Is that someone that I want to, reach out to? Yes. And so then I can start saying, okay, this is someone who's had their property listed. I can come in and I can do a search. And then as I do my search, how do I want to do my search? Do I want to do it by property value? So if I came in here and if I checked property value to 750 plus, okay, if I added that and if I applied it, and then let's say, for instance, I have other criteria in here. So it would have to be an owner occupant. We're going to get rid of expired, but then I will come in and I've already drawn this box. So I could come in and, for instance, I'm going to look at Jaime Ladonio. Jaime Ladonio at this property right here. It was on the market. It was withdrawn. I can come in, or I can look at Ronald Schroeder. These are the way that I'm going through and I'm looking up names. If they're, and now when I click on this, let me just use this one as an example. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to click on, I'm going to get as much information as I can to see if this is someone, if this is a property that I'm interested in. It was on the market for 124 days. I want to see who it was owned by. You'll see that it's owned by Nefer Ladonio for 19 years. What's the sales score on it? That's where I'm going to come through. I'm going to look at some things, look at who the listing agent was. Now I start to see, okay, the listing agent was probably related, right? I get all of this information from Remind with, as a member of the Miami Association, we're getting Remind Pro for free. And so I come in, I do this information. I look and I say, okay, is this someone that I want to go after? If so, now I'm putting their information into our online wealth lookup to see if this is a person, how many points of contact or connection could we have? Can I find someone else that might be on LinkedIn to make a warm intro to? Is there something that we have in common? And so that's how. So I'm very specific on a few properties that I want to go after. And then I'm going to also choose some areas. And if I see one property that's been on the market, off the market numerous times, or it's been on the market for maybe like 400 days and then it expired, I want to go in and say, okay, what can I find out about the owner, not only about the property? Because I want to custom tailor some type of conversation or some type of mailer, or if it's going to be a report, I want to custom tailor that report to them. And that report, I'm going to use a mix of RPR. I'm going to use the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing report. I'm going to use my newsletter. All of these things I'm going to piece together, and depending on how much information I have on that individual, that's going to determine how thick or how thin or what position or what lane I take with the presentation or the mailer that I'm sending out. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So now we're going to get out of the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. Don't forget, you can go to miamirealtors.com/luxury and get all of the information there just about luxury, Inman News, also with the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. Fantastic resources. So now we have all of this information. What do we do with it, right? So we've gotten Florida Realtors, we've gotten at the state level, we've gotten NAR at the national level. We have Florida Realtors by zip code, by type of property. We're getting the newest one that's coming out on the 19th, so we can hit people with this information about home sales in January. Okay, what are we doing? The first thing that I encourage everyone to do is to come in and make a report. So you'll see here on my page, I have market reports on YouTube. Utilize YouTube as much as you can. So I'm going to come in and I already have one open. And this is it was titled Cold Weather Hot Market in Hollywood. And, this is just something where all I'm doing is, you can see here on the side where I'm using catchy, thumbnails to get people's attention. Fort Lauderdale luxury market for November 2019. And so, whatever it is, January 2019, 2020. So this is the old one that I use for demo purposes only. But in this report, all I'm doing is reading the same information that we're going to have in our newsletter. I'm reading the same information that we're pulling from the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. I'm reading the same info that I'm going to pull from Florida Realtors, from the NAR report, wherever the information comes in. Once you know where to get the information, now you can be as creative as possible. And here's why we want to do it on YouTube. We want to house our videos on YouTube because, one, we know we can see how the activity that we're getting. We can't see who's coming, but we can see how frequently which videos are getting views and which ones aren't. But the most important thing is that once you start uploading videos and you do the subtitles or the closed captions where they are auto-generated, here's where we make our money. Okay, so I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to play this, and then you're going to see what I'm talking about.
Sellers, if you're confused about why I'm dressed like this, to be honest, I'm a little confused too.
Okay, so you see right there, I'm just simply talking. I'm going to continue.
Because as you may know or can probably feel, lately we've been in a bit of a cold front with the physical weather, but our real estate industry,
and now what I'm about to do is what I want you to pay special attention to. So here, we don't use these because we watch videos in English, right? We watch, we listen. Most of them are in our spoken tongue where we can understand. But for most of our colleagues, our peers, people outside of the country, they usually have closed caption on, and you can come here to settings. Their subtitles and closed caption are going to be in another language. So for instance, I am going to do Spanish. And you see all of the auto-generated that can be changed. So we can do Spanish. So now we're going to come in and see. They're going to see Neal. They're going to hear me speaking English, but they're going to be able to read it in Spanish.
The real estate market has been anything but frigid. In fact, it's been one of the hottest markets that we've ever seen in South Florida.
And this is where our value comes in. This is how we start to multiply and repurpose everything that we do. So whether we're going to get this information right here, we're going to first, we want it in video. We're going to use the same information on our Facebook business pages, in posts or in blogs. We're going to put it on our website as a blog post. We're going to use our blog post to link this video and embed the video. Why? Because now if I'm giving relevant, accurate, timely information consistently over every format, now all of these search engines, they're going to start picking it up. So do you understand why we want to leverage YouTube? Because YouTube has something that Facebook Live and all the other places don't. You don't have to go in and type in the subtitles or the closed caption. You're going to go in. I use the auto generate. I speak intentionally slower than I am right now so that the auto generated closed caption or subtitles are going to be fine. And then when someone who's watching the video, if they want to change the language, let's say that now, instead of English, we want to take it to French. It's right there. This is where our value, our expertise comes in because other agents just aren't doing it. We're showing videos of homes. We're showing videos of nice properties. What we aren't doing, we aren't giving relevant, valuable, timely information in a way that people can digest it, where even if they don't speak our language, they know that they're getting the right info. Does that make sense?
So for the closed caption settings, we set that up when we're uploading the video?
No, ma'am. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. And so when you are, first you upload the video, okay? So you have to upload the entire video. And then after you finish the upload on the video, you're going to scroll down to the bottom. And you're going to put video English language. I'm sorry, video language. You're going to put this in English. And then to manage other languages, go to subtitles. You're going to see that English by YouTube. And so you can click this right here. And so you'll see that that's going to do it by itself. The problem is most of the time we don't come in and we don't click to auto generate. So you want to auto generate your subtitles and closed caption. And once you do that, it's going to come out in English. And then you just have to go back and turn it on if you want it on for your video to test it out. Or you, like most people in the US, they have those off already. Okay. But if you come in and you do English by YouTube and that's automatic, that's going to be fine. So it's going to be no additional step other than just coming and clicking that box.
Okay, and it'll automatically generate it. So even if I don't see it on my end, but when they click the video on their end, the subtitles will show up in the language of choice.
Yes. And that's where our value comes in, right? That's where we get that little competitive advantage, because now we're coming in, we're saying, okay, well, like, why do you do this? Why do you, like, you're not getting a lot of views? Well, if you look at the views on my videos, they aren't coming in. They're not from the US. I'm sending them out as links. And plus, YouTube links are accepted through a lot of firewalls when it comes to different internet or email carriers outside of the US. Okay, so now that's what we're going to be doing with YouTube. That's why we're going to do it. Now you're going to ask, well, even before, let me make sure. Okay, so now that we have the video version of the content, what are we going to do? You've been talking about this newsletter, this magazine that we're going to put together. Where are we going to do this? We're going to use right now a free version of Issuu, ISSUU, ISSUU.com. ISSUU.com. And you can upgrade. The difference with the upgrade is you won't have the ads and the banners on the side. So all this is you're going to create your newsletter. I create my newsletter using Publisher. So you can use Publisher from the office. You can use Word if you want to, and just change it to a PDF. So this is nothing more than a PDF. That's all this is. The beauty is that after you create your newsletter or your publication, your magazine, whatever you want to do, you're going to use this share link. And once you share this link, you can put it on various platforms directly from here, or you can copy this link and put it into an email. So when we come over here, and let's say we look at a preview. So here's how the preview of my luxury home Broward is going to look on a mobile device. Here's how it's going to look on a desktop view. And so you're going to say, well, Neal, what is your publication? What does it look like? Like, what am I going to see? Well, this is what it is here. This is where I just come in and I change up this from a photo. Now, this is the one. The purpose for this is to be seen by the end user. This is going to be public facing. So this is the one that we want to brand, and we want to brand heavily. Luxury Homes Broward, remember, single family homes in Broward County. my brokerage, luxuryhomebroward.com, locally known, globally recognized. And then we're just going to hit them over and over and over, communicating to the end user that we know luxury. So what does that mean? We're coming in, grabbing some photos from any resource that you want, as long as you have the right to use the photos. Definitions of luxury. This right here is coming from the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. National Luxury Single Family Home Stats from August versus September. This is coming from the national report for the luxury, from the Luxury Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. The same thing here. You can see, now I'm looking at the state of Florida. I pulled both of these. Same information, some coming from Inman, some coming from other reports that from NAR. And you pull this, and now all we're doing is branding. Luxury Homes Broward, Luxury Homes Broward. And then 3 tips to sell during the holidays. This information is, I'm pulling this information from Breakthrough Broker. And then everything that I'm talking about is to home sellers. But then at the very end, this never changes. This is always for home buyers. So if I have a home seller, remember, I'm speaking to Luxury Homes Broward. I want home sellers to get this information. So if I'm sending this to David, who lives in Continuum down in South Beach, but we're talking about his house up in Weston, he's getting this information. Does he care about the new definition of luxury? Absolutely. Does he care about U.S. luxury housing market enjoys price rebound despite coronavirus? Absolutely. But what if he's not focused on selling? What if he's looking on the buying side of the business? Looking for your new home, please text home too. That's the call to action for those who are looking for the services. And so this is what I would be sending out to the home buyers. This is what I'm sending out to the public, to the end user in the luxury space. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, so the public are those that you look up, or your current clients, would you say?
Now, this could be current clients. Now, this is something good for you to even post on your social media, right? So if you want to put this link right here into your Instagram using the link tree, if you want to put this in your Instagram bio to receive or to view the latest luxury newsletter, that's where it would be. But anywhere I want to give someone something, an item of value, because I believe that now we've done the work. Natasha, you've done the work. You've gone through, you've gotten all this information from various resources. Other people are going to be like, where does she get all this information? But I do know that she's an expert. I don't know this information. They don't know. You just know where to look. So once you get this information, you want to share this type of information that's branded to you everywhere that you can. Facebook business page, you want to share it through to your personal, you want to put it on your website. You want to use this as a call to action to get the most up-to-date luxury newsletter, and so LinkedIn is going to be a fantastic place to share this link, because it's going to give that little small preview, and they're going to see it, and it's going to look sexy. Remember, when we're in here, some of these reports, just like down here, some of the graphs, they aren't sexy. But when you get a preview that looks like this, it's going to be eye-catching, and people are going to say, I'm curious as to what she has to say. I'm curious what the luxury market is doing. So I think that would be a fantastic thing. Now, this is the type, now we would never post a full Florida Realtors report. We would never post or share a full Institute national report. This right here is where we're going to pull some things from those reports, and we do share this. Does it make sense to you?
Clear, yes.
Okay. All right. And now here's where we piece everything together. So I know we've been talking about the luxury side, but now this is where we're going to piece everything together on the global, on the international side. And this is with Proxio. So Proxio has a number of different things. The first one is Proxio Connect. It's the one that looks and feels most like a social networking version or site for real estate professionals. Proxio Connect is the least one that I use. So I don't use Proxio Connect for the simple reason that if I want to send a message, let's say if I want to send a message to John, I can send it to John. I can type a beautiful message. No, I'm not a robot, but there's no place for me to send an attachment. I cannot attach anything. So if I'm going to be sending something to Matias over in San Diego, I cannot, or Fernando in Rio de Janeiro, I cannot send him an attachment that has those reports. So I'm going to show you how I use Proxio Pro. Proxio Pro is the first version, and you can't just get to it directly anymore, especially if you're going to log in through the Miami Association or through any of the local association dashboards. They're going to bring you to Proxio Connect. So the way we get around that is we go to Proxio Showcase. And once we're in Proxio Showcase, which is for the developers and the new construction, do we care about that? No, we really don't, because we're not going to use Proxio Showcase for this either. We only came from Proxio Connect to Proxio Showcase for this tab right here. We care about Proxio Pro. And when we click on Proxio Pro, it's going to take us to what I believe is the best version of Proxio, because now I can come in and I can do property searches. I can look for new development and it'll take me to Proxio Showcase. I can build my referral network, add a listing, translate language, any of those things. Okay, but the main one that we care about is we're going to look at network right over here. So you can either build my referral network or you can just come over here to network. And what I encourage you to do first is start building your network. And one of the ways that we can do, and this is why I love Proxio Pro, I can come in and I can choose the countries that I want to target. So I'm going to do by geography. We're going to do Thailand. But what if I don't speak Thai? What if I come in here and say, well, one of the requirements is that this professional needs to speak English. So I want a Thai agent, but I want them to speak English. And now I hit that search. That's where I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, okay, I can see that these agents here, they're in Thailand, but the languages that they speak are here. Okay, so that's going to be one thing. Now, that's what I believe the value is. Now, let's say that if you wanted to look in the United States, let's go down to the US. But you wanted to look for someone that was in California, because maybe you want to look outside of Florida. So we're going to do United States in California, and we're going to do this search. And now if you wanted to reach out to or build connections with these people, now what I love doing is I like building connections not only with people who have so if you see this chain link here, that means that Matias has 3,737 connections. So you can decide how you want to build connections with different individuals in different areas. One of the criteria that I look for is I want to see how many listings do they have currently. Why? Because I know that if they have listings, they might have a little more insight to the business and what's happening in the marketplace. So I can see here that Antonia has 9 listings and only 86 connections. I see that Georgina has 6 listings and 48 connections. So if I want to connect with Georgina, I would just come in and I would either send a message or connect. Now, when we're talking about my agent network, and this is where I talk about, so you'll see that in my network, I have 204 agents. So you don't need to have 3,000 or 5,000 people in order to be successful if you work this the right way. And here's how we work it the right way. We're going to send an email, but we're not just going to send a blanket email with properties and the such. We're going to choose, so you can select all, or you can select by the name, the agent country, any of those. Or if you wanted to, you can just come in here and select who you wanted to send the emails to. So maybe I want to send it to everyone who is not in the United States. So if you wanted to come through here and do that with your time, by all means, you could do that. So here's where this, in my mind, is better than Connect. Because now when I send an email, me sending this email will allow me, if you look at this section right here, it says attachment. I'm going to choose the attachment that I want to attach. So I'm going to come in. This might be where I attach my newsletter, the PDF version, or I could attach my report from Florida Realtors, NAR, from the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. But then also in here in the body, I can create hyperlinks to my YouTube video. So I'm going to send them my YouTube video. I'm going to attach the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing or the Florida Realtors Report. I'm going to put in my link for the issue newsletter publication that I'm going to have updated and uploaded onto issue. Now, when they have questions, when they want to look and see what's happening in the luxury market in single family homes in Broward County, they're there. If they want to see what's happening with international or global buyers coming into the state of Florida, we can be doing that report via YouTube. They can click on that link and watch that as well. So those are some of the tools that I'm using. I like Proxio Pro over Proxio Connect for the simple reason that I can do this attachment. I can choose the file, and then I'll see who it's being sent to. And if I wanted to send it to myself, I just include myself in the message. So those are some of the things that I'm using. That's how I'm using it. And that's what's really helping me get a lot of success with colleagues and then also with end users, end buyers or sellers who are here in the States. Any questions that you might have, ma'am?
You would prefer, so you do Proxio Pro over doing like social media for professionals?
Yes.
Or link.
So I use now my Proxio Pro. The reason I'm still using LinkedIn. I believe LinkedIn is one of the most valuable, underutilized resources that we use for connecting with other professionals. Okay, but the issue and the challenge with LinkedIn is that I might not be able to reach out real estate professionals outside of the country, or I don't have their email address where I can send them attachments. So if I can connect with them on LinkedIn, I ask about Proxio. Once I connect with them on Proxio, I ask about LinkedIn. My goal is I want to be everywhere they are. I want to be connected with them on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I want to be connected with them on Proxio. I want to have their email address in my database. So for me, that's the way that I'm utilizing it. So I want them to be like, Neal is everywhere, and everywhere he is, he's concise. He's consistent with the message. He's dressed the same way. He communicates this. We know what we're getting. Because when it comes time for that referral, or when they have a question about the marketplace, I want them to know without a second thought of where they're going to go to get that information, and I want it to be me.
Okay. And so you get all this information and you upload it. So once a month, you jam one shot.
and see, and that's where, and remember, I said it's simple, but it requires work. So I'm coming in and I look at where's my marketing calendar? I've got I have my Brian Buffini marketing calendar, right? For the year. So I come in and I know on what days I'm going to send what based on that release schedule that we see from Florida Realtors, right? And so sometimes the release schedule from Florida Realtors probably is not going to coincide with the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing release and update. But what that does is now that gives me another reason, a valuable reason, not just saying, hey, I need something from you. So if they know that if they're going to get something from me on this date, and what I do is I let my sphere, I let my database, I let my colleagues know when they can expect to hear from me. Hey, so this month you're going to be hearing from me on the 19th, right? On the 11th and the 19th. So they're like, so anticipate hearing from me on the 11th and the 19th. And so now I've built in, like for this month, since we have a quarter, because you have two for each month, only 4 times, right? So that's when we're going to have the quarter and the month are coming out here in February. And so, hey, on the 11th, you're going to hear from me. On the 19th, you're going to hear from me. And then I know that they're going to hear from me one more time for the luxury. Now, not everyone cares about the luxury. Not everyone cares about the international. Not everyone cares just about the marketplace, the general market. But what I do know is that they are opening my emails at a high rate. Like we're at a almost 87, 88% rate. And they're looking at the info. That's how I know that they're getting valuable content. They want to know in one place, in one email, in one video, say, well, what's happening? What's the market doing? Does he know? Like, so now I've taken the work. So when you're saying, so you're just getting all this information and you're just knocking it out. Yep. I'm saying, all right, today, don't bother me. Like, I know on the 19th, don't bother me. Why? Because I need to look at the stats. I need to know the stats. I need to get my new newsletter done. I need to make sure that my market reports are done in visible, virtual format, video format. I also need to make sure that my website is updated with the blog post that I'm going to do. Right? I got to make sure that all my links are done. And then on the 19th, hopefully by 5 p.m., because it's going to come out noonish, 1ish, by 5 p.m., I want everything rolled out. Right. And then if I do that, that's one contact. But now I have a reason to follow up with them on the 20th and the 21st or 22nd. Hey, I sent the info. What did you think? Did you see this? Did you have any questions? And now I'm not just calling and saying, hey, how's the family? Hey, like we're having conversations, and especially if there's something that jumps out, when we start seeing that the median days on market has decreased by almost 70% in the 600K to $1 million minus above. If I'm sending that to David and I know that his home is priced at 800,000, I'm like, hey, David, did you see that the median days on market has decreased by almost 70% in your marketplace? Right? And he's like, yeah, I saw that. And I know that you've owned that home for 19 years. Is now the time to make a move, because now it becomes very specific. Right? I'm like, hey, David, I just want to make sure that you know that I sent this to you. Did you have any questions? Nah, Neal, I was waiting on your phone call. I knew you were going to call me. Thanks for being consistent. And that's it. And once you build consistency with colleagues from across the seas or even outside of our local market area, even within the state, right? That's when you want to become predictable. You want people to be able to set their calendar and their clock by you. When they say, Natasha's going to send me this, she says she's sending it on the 19th or the 20th, whatever. Because here's the beauty. You can be a week late with this and no one else is doing anything, right? So, right? Think about this. You don't hear our colleagues. Let me change you. You don't hear our colleagues sitting here talking about, oh, I don't bother me on the 19th or the 20th. I got to get my market report. It's just not being done. You aren't receiving emails with links to YouTube where people can get a market update in a matter of 5 minutes visually or on their phone and say, cool. Now we get this information from who? We get these emails from our lenders. We get these emails from our support people when they come in. Hey, here's the minute market update, something like that. So it's whatever you want to be, but we aren't taking the same tools and we aren't doing the same methods that our affiliates are doing that make them very successful. Dan Longman, he uses BombBomb, right? He's very successful. He's coming in, he's using BombBomb. For me, I just like using YouTube because I know that I'm targeting a different audience outside of our borders. And therefore, I want them to be able to translate my closed caption into their language. So anything you do is going to be better than what the majority of our colleagues and peers are doing. So I say the 19th, if you were to get it out by the 24th or 25th, guess what? You're going to be better than almost everyone else who doesn't do anything. The key is to just be consistent. Once you get it done, because the first 5 or 6, you're going to be like, God, Neal, you said it was simple. Like, man, I had to go Florida Realtors. I got to get this and I got to figure out. But once you have that template and you change the color of the front of the page and you do this, and then you know how to use Remind to look for zip codes or sellers or owners, you're going to be like, okay, I know who I want to send this printed material to. I know who I'm going to send emails to. I know who I'm going to send a link to of only the video, and it just becomes a system. And then everyone's going to be like, Natasha, you're everywhere. And you're going to be like, nope, I'm in 4 places. Like, I'm only in 4 places. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. It's just that we're connected on all 4 of those places. I have your mailing address. You see me show up in your Facebook feed. You see me on YouTube. We might be on LinkedIn. And like, that's where we get very smart about how we utilize our resources, our time, our money, our energy, but we just hit the same people over and over and over. So much to the point where they're like, man, she must sell 1,000 homes. How is she not busy? Right? And that's the goal. We want the perception of them to be like, what, everywhere they are, everywhere I go, I see them. Every time I think of real estate, like she must have some type of something on my phone because every week, every month, I don't know how, she just keeps popping up in my feed. Right? I don't care if it's Facebook, I don't care if it's Instagram, I don't care if it's an email, a text message, a phone call, she's here. And so once we do that, that's when we start to reap the benefits. And like I said, it's not hard. It does require work. And once you get the system down and that consistency starts to compound. And that's when you'll start to see, well, how did you find me? I don't know. It was an email or it was a video. I don't know. Maybe it was a phone call. Maybe it was something in the mail. Right? I see you everywhere. That's when you know that it's paying off.
Okay. And so we find them on Proxio Pro because I use Constant Contact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into 5 single, too many places. I have the contact, stick them, and then, then I know I'm feeding them material through that. Is that
okay? Now you can use Constant Contact. What I would ask is, what value are you sending? What value are you communicating? Because here's the challenge. Many times I was taught by one of my mentors, don't answer questions that no one's asking. Don't answer questions that no one's asking. Much of our content, we have to ask, why would they read this? Why would they open it? Why would they accept it a second time? Yeah, we can get someone to read our email the first time. Can we get them to look at it a second time, a third time? Can we get to the point where if they don't receive it, they feel like they've been cheated or robbed? And so that's where we have to say, what value are we giving? What is going to make them open this? And so I don't care about the platform. I do care about the thing, and because this information, remember, this isn't publicly available. We want that members only type of information. And then we want to give them an option to ask us for more. So we could give all of this information. And so on the back page of my newsletter, I put, if you're looking for your dream home, send text home to this address. To this phone number. Now, I just want the cell phone number. And if they text home, then I know that now they're a buyer who's looking for something. So that's how I'm getting buyer leads. But also in my newsletter, I'm putting in different areas. If you want your home value, text value to my cell phone number. Because now I might be giving them what I think they want. But now if they ask a different question, if they say, well, I don't care about the luxury market. I don't care about the global buyers or sellers. I just need my home value. How do I get, value to 786, da, 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 da. Or I'm not a seller. Everything he did here talks about the seller part. Oh, on the back page, if I'm looking for my dream home, text home to, right? And so that's a way where we're actually communicating value. Like most buyers or sellers, most people in the marketplace, they want to know about what's happening in the real estate market. And I think that the questions that they aren't asking is, how many homes did you sell? Are you a top producer? How long have you been in the industry? How many awards do you have? Right. To them, they're like, I don't care about that. Can you help me? Can you answer my question? Can I trust you? Are you good at what you do? If you can communicate, if you can demonstrate that you're good at what you can do, and what you do, and that they can trust you. So everything that you do, Natasha, I would encourage you to put it up against those two questions. Does it demonstrate that I'm good at what I do? If the information that you're communicating demonstrates that you're good at what you can do, the next question is going to be, is what I'm sending them or what I'm sharing to them, does it communicate that I'm a trustworthy person, that I'm a reputable person, that I know what I'm doing, that they can put their trust in me? If you're good at what you do, and if you can communicate that, and then if you can communicate that you're trustworthy, more people are going to come to you. And that's what you want. You want people coming to you because you're good and because they trust you. And when that happens, good people that are trusted, they get referred over and over and over again. Good people that are trustworthy, they're the ones that we think about. So think of someone that's good at what they do that you trust. When when a conversation comes up in their field, you're like, and how do we know that's that person? You're like, I got the perfect person. They're the only person you should reach out to. Like, no. Yeah, your mom, forget about your mom. Your mom is a loser compared to this person, right? And so that's the way we feel. And so our job is to become that person. And that's why this information right here, because let's face it, you and I, we have too much stuff to do. Like, this is hard enough just go and get this information. Now, what if we had to do the research ourselves and had to compile the data? And then we had to go through and say, well, let me see, how do I figure out what list price to sales price ratio is? No, we don't want to do that. We just want to have this. We want to share it, let people know, nah, boo boo, I got what you can't, what you don't have. But if you want it, I'll give it to you. And that's going to be our colleagues and peers on one side, our affiliates. And then the one that's branded to you, that's what we're going to package and we're going to give out to the end user. And we can even do that one for the videos. I do believe that any of your videos you should brand to yourself, right? Or to your company. So the videos, the only thing we're not branding are going to be these state reports, a national report, or something like the Institute report that we're going to be sending out to other professionals.
So just download and forward that information to the network. Okay.
Yep. And then in that, when you send it, you do want to ask them, hey, if you have something similar, from your country or from your company, I would love to be on your list. Now, you might not care nothing about the information that they're sending. What you do want to do is you want to build that relationship, because if they're getting information from you, we want to test that tie there. We want to say, okay, they're getting information from me. Do they care enough about me and my business that they'll reciprocate? This is like that test or trial close when we're working with clients. If you have something similar in your marketplace or from your company or in your country, I would love to be on the receiving end. Add me to your list, because that's going to give us another reason. We just want to have as many reasons as possible to have conversation or dialogue back and forth. Hey, Natasha, I saw that national report that you sent from Rio de Janeiro. I see that this, and this. What's that mean for buyers in your marketplace? Now you actually read the report that I sent you. And now it starts to build this thing. Know, like, trust. Know, like, trust. You're good at what you do. I know you. I like you. I trust you because I'm seeing your videos. I'm getting your report. You sent me an email or a text message about what I sent to you. We had a conversation. Now, if I think of U.S. real estate, you have to come to mind, because I'm seeing you everywhere and I'm speaking to you, even if it's in email format, at least once a month. And that's where we build that consistency in. And that's where I built my consistency, where the majority of my business is done with people that I've never met physically, personally. I may not have had conversations with them. And the way that I'm getting income is just by saying, hey, you need an agent in California? Absolutely. I know you know me, trust me from my videos, from my reports, from my emails. Here, this is a person that I trust. And then when they send the referral to me, I make sure that they get compensated for the referral. But now, instead of whatever referral fee that might be the industry norm or accepted, I'm doubling that because of the number of referrals that are coming. So if it was 25 coconuts, I might ask for a 50 coconut referral fee, right? And I might get those 50 coconuts and then make sure that the other person is taken care of, and I still have a lot of coconuts for myself, right? And so that's where it makes sense, because you start saying, well, I'm only getting half of this, but you could be getting 75% of nothing. And so that's why I'm like, okay, my value is that if you treat this one right, there's more to come. And then they start to see a track record, because I showed them, hey, these are the referrals that came in. This is what I sent out. These are the agents that I sent them to. Talk to them, and then they'll let you know about the volume that I'm doing on referral fees. Or referral transactions. And it's just a way to be creative, right? Because other agents are thinking, well, I only work here. I only do this. I want the end buyer or seller in this marketplace. For me, I'm saying before their feet touch soil in the United States, I want the people that they trust to tell them, do whatever Neal says. And
Exactly.
If Neal says go to Natasha and she's in Iowa, I want them to say, okay, Neal told me that you're my lady. I'm going to listen to you. Because don't forget that outside of the U.S., they're higher context cultures, and they know, like, trust. You're a real estate professional. You are their advisor, and so they'll listen. And so that's how I built my business, and that's what affords me the opportunity to really work less, right? The hard stuff, but my work is this right here: building these, getting this information out, and then just connecting people.